I am so excited that you came across my YouTube channel on today, my brand new YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you're going to be along with me on this journey as I share some different things about transitioning from corporate America, going into retirement, coming out of retirement, starting a new business, motherhood, all things in between. I am just excited that you're going to be here for this journey. Hopefully, we'll be collaborating and finding some common ground on some of the things that we are experiencing, that we're learning, that we're delving into. So again, my name is Karen, and I am a retiree from corporate America, financial services to be specific, but I'm also a business owner. And to this channel primarily will be dedicated to things that I'm learning along the way as a business owner, as a middle-aged business owner. So a lot of experience to bring to the table, a lot of things to learn from all of you, and I'm excited that you're here. I wanted to share with you some things that were just, I guess I can say, on my heart, the things that I've learned along the way, things that I'm thinking about that I've experienced once I left my job. So, a lot of people, in 2020, when we first started experiencing the pandemic, decided that there was just some other things that they wanted to do in life. They began to retire, they began to transition from those jobs. People called it, or we heard of it in the mainstream media as the Great Resignation. Well, 2021, I decided that it was my time to move forward and pursue some things that I wanted to do, and not immediately pursue those things, but primarily just rest, just kind of take a mental break. I've been working since I was about 15, 16 years old, never really had a break in between, went from working to maybe going into the military for a while as a reservist, college, caring, helping out, with family, with my mom as a single parent. So, at some point, you just need a little break. So I found that in 2021 was just a good time for me as an eligible retiree to just retire in the sense of not ever working again, but really restructuring my life and transitioning to, other forms of, I don't even want to say other forms of employment, but just moving in another direction in terms of, sources of income. Let's say it like that. So, one of the things that I learned along the way, and not just along the way of moving from my corporate space into an entrepreneurial space or, all things in between, but just in life, that walking by faith and not by sight is not for the faint of heart. It's not always an easy thing to do because you literally are walking by faith, not knowing, especially if you're going into business for yourself, not knowing all that's going to, be involved with that. And I believe sometimes if we knew, we would run and go in the other direction. We see the big picture. Most times we have the vision. We know what it is that we want to do. We know some of the things that we're good at. And, but the hills and the valleys along the way sometimes can be a little, trepidating or, make us a little bit fearful. But along the way, what caused me to keep going, and as a business owner, and it's growing, it has its highs and lows, its ups and downs, but I'm determined along the way to keep it moving, is that I must remember my why am I doing this? Because some days, honestly, when you are an entrepreneur, or if you're pursuing something, maybe you're going back and getting another college degree, maybe you are just whatever it is that you're doing, just remember your why. Why did you do it in the first place? When I think about leaving my job in financial services, it wasn't just because I didn't want to work anymore, because I knew, as a 50 something year old at the time, I had a long way to go. I wasn't going to stop working. I really wasn't retiring. That's just a phrase that we use, when we are leaving employment for an extended period of time, or if we have worked, all our lives and we're really ready to retire, travel, do whatever. But I knew for me, it was really restructuring and just transitioning to something else, maybe pursuing some dreams and some goals and some different things that I wanted to do. So I had to remember my why. Why was I, ready to leave, that space of employment? One of the big things was because I needed, as a single parent, to be there for my daughter in a different way. And for me as well, self care, we use that term a lot these days because I think we recognize the importance of caring for self, especially if you've been caregivers to other people. But my daughter at the time, as an adolescent, at the time she was a preteen, and now she is a teenager. Children go through very sensitive times in their lives, or maybe they're more sensitive to things than others. Maybe, they just have more of a need. And as a single parent, sometimes that pulls on you just a little bit more. So I had to remember my why. Why was I walking by faith and not by sight? Why was I pursuing some of the things that I was pursuing? Why, am I going into business for myself? It wasn't just to become quote unquote wealthy, famous, any of those things, but I knew that having that time with my daughter was going to provide both of us a better quality of life, right? Having the time to spend with her, having without being, stressed, rushed on the highway, going back and forth to work, taking care of this and taking care of that, and us having limited time, having fast food all the time, doing whatever. I knew that if I took the opportunity to leave when I did, it was going to enhance the quality of my life, right? So she needed me at this point in her life a little bit more, than other times that she really needed me, and I needed to be there. Um, and so remembering my why, it's important why you're doing these things, because sometimes you will lose passion. If you're pursuing business or you're pursuing certain things and you begin to go through the motions, if you don't remember your why, it will become mundane and routine. So remembering your why, it can revitalize and refresh you and renew you as you pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. So, in the midst of all that, do your best not to lose heart, because sometimes you will come up against closed doors. Sometimes the doors need to remain closed. You need to walk away. Sometimes those are doors that you might need to kick down. Sometimes those are doors that, may open up a little bit later. But just don't lose heart when you face giants or come against obstacles or things that might seem like obstacles. Just be sensitive to whatever direction you need to go in. Sometimes you just need to be still, be quiet, be prayerful, and know when it is time to pursue. The other thing that I wanted to say that keeps me motivated is that you give yourself grace. I give myself grace. So sometimes failure comes, and failure doesn't necessarily come just because you didn't properly prepare. Sometimes you go through things, and sometimes things don't pan out the way that you expect them to. Sometimes you do fail to plan, but don't be afraid to fail. Just always challenge yourself. If things look like failure in your life, get back up, right? Don't stay in a fallen state. You don't have to stay there. We all make mistakes. We all fall short. Um, but failure, um, sometimes it happens in life just so that you can see that it, you have the potential to do more than what you think you're capable of. So you can look at many business owners. They may have failed at maybe their first, second, or third businesses, but their fourth one, because they kept going, they knew their why, and they kept pursuing. Maybe it was the fourth time around that it really it took root, right, and it grew. People that may run for political office, whatever the case may be, people who may be trying to have children, and maybe, the pregnancies fail. But maybe, it gets to that point where that third or fourth time, the pregnancy, is a viable pregnancy, and they give birth. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try again. If anything, you have to keep trying. Um, and make adjustments as you learn. So, we don't always know everything, right? So, and I know for me, as a Christian, I find that God gives me things on a need to know basis, right? So I won't get in the way and mess things up. But as you are learning, don't be afraid to make adjustments along the way, right? Because not everything is going to demand the same type of response. So make adjustments, take note of things that are happening, in your life or in your transactions or whatever the case may be, and make adjustments along the way. The third thing is be willing to learn from other generations, right? From multiple generations. Don't throw out the people that are older than you because they have so much wisdom and so much to offer to you. And the people that are coming up behind you, the younger generations. I know there's a 42-year difference between me and my daughter. And so how I learn things are vastly different from the way that she learned things. She's very technical minded. She knows gadgets. She knows, the digital space. I grew up in the era where we had typewriters or word processors and things like that. So don't be afraid to learn from the um, other generations, because what happens sometimes, if you believe that somebody has a skill set that you need and you don't know how to approach getting it, you become intimidated by them. And we shouldn't be intimidated by anyone. We should be willing to learn from someone that can make us better, and also recognize that we have something to give to make others better. So be willing to learn from other generations. The fourth thing that I want to say is that, especially coming from whatever your background might be, always assess your transferable skills, right? So all of us have something that we can bring to the table, right? So when you're starting a brand new business and you go, wow, I know nothing about selling real estate. I know nothing about opening up a restaurant. I know nothing about this. But maybe you have a background in accounting. Maybe you have a background in customer service. Maybe you know how to wow people. Maybe you're very persuasive when it comes to sales. You have very good soft skills. Look at the thing that kept you in your career. That career might have been 20, 30 years. And maybe some days you felt like you were going through the motions, but think about all the things, the certifications, the credentials, the classes, different things that you learned along the way that became a part of who you are, right? They became a part of your makeup. Assess those transferable skills and bring them into whatever your new endeavor is. Um, I think that that is something that is often overlooked, that we do have skills, and that everything may not be as new as we think when we're going into new ventures. Yes, there are some things that we have to learn that we might not be familiar with, but we know that we have the capacity to learn, we have the capability of learning, and we can bring those transferable assets, I call them assets and not just skills, into whatever the new endeavor is. Um, the last thing, which to me is huge, is never cheat yourself out of your own creativity. And by that I mean, there was one time where I used to think, wow, I would really love to be able to draw like other people. There are some fabulous people. It's just amazing that they can pick up a pen or paper, and what's going on in their brain, they can just draw it out, and it's just beautiful. It's just, magnificent. And I've always wanted to draw. I never really got past the stick people or the little one stem, flower or whatever that we used to draw when we were little, and they all looked like tulips, and everybody had the same looking house and the same looking sun, and, just that kind of kindergarten level art. But one day, when I was the first time out, when I started this business, I think it was in 2011, and I, prayed about being able to design something or being able to create something. And I was on my natural hair journey. So I was creating things for my hair and creating things for my daughter's skin, because she was really little and she had eczema with her skin. And so my thought was, wow, God, you're the creator, right? And I'm created in your image and your likeness. So part of me is able to create, right? Because I am, a part of who you are. I'm your daughter. I'm made in your image and in your likeness. And I want to create. I want to be able to create something. I might not draw, right? I might not sing, which I don't sing, so I would love to be able to sing like some people, but that's just not my, my calling or what have you. I'll make my joyful noise. You can go ahead and sing the way that you sing, right? But I wanted to create. And so he gave me creativity through, bath and body products and hair products and different things. And so while I have a million things going off in my head about the things that I want to do, I just approach it one thing at a time. And I'm learning to embrace the creativity in the lane that he put me in. So your creative lane might be art. My creative lane, is bath and body products. Somebody else's creative lane might be their culinary skills. Somebody else's creative lane might be designing clothes. Maybe somebody else creates makeup. Your creative lane might be found in how you sell real estate or how you build homes or whatever. Don't limit yourself and don't make the comparison of your creativity having to be like someone else's, right? So don't cheat yourself out of your own creativity, because everybody has the capacity, to create something great, something good, and to bring solutions to problems that other people have, right? So we all have something that we can give, something that we can impart, something that we can help make better. But sometimes what we do is we minimize what our abilities are, and we think that we don't have as much to contribute. But you would be surprised that somebody needs, the thing that you are minimizing in yourself, somebody needs that from you. So that's my introduction to my channel. The business name is Tangaza Bath and Body Creations. Tangaza is a Swahili word that means arrive. So that is my goal, that whatever it is that you're called into, that you would arrive into that thing that you are called into. So hopefully, not hopefully, but there'll be lots of content that I'll be bringing. I won't say it'll be every day, because it won't be every day, but we'll be talking about different things. Some days you might see me making soap, making butters, oils, whatever the case may be. Some days we might be out on a walk. Some days we just might be talking about some things. So I'm just excited that you're coming along with me and that you are going to find grace for the journey that you're on. All right. Have a good day. Bye.